this episode, I am so excited for this topic. It's something that's really close to my heart, mastering the art of effective questioning for great client results. Now, I'm just off the back of teaching NLP practitioner training for 7 days. And so this is really front of mind for me. And so I really want to just have you think about this for a moment. Have you ever felt that there was more going on for your client than what they were telling you, but you just couldn't put your finger on it? Like there was just some incongruency and you're just thinking, okay, so they're telling me this is their problem and they're telling me this is what they want to have, but how is it that they can't get that for themselves? How is it that this is a problem? Like maybe you'll feel like there's some inconsistencies. You're just getting a sense of there's some inconsistencies in how they're explaining what they want or what's stopping them from achieving it. Or maybe you get a sense that they're not even congruent with their ability to get that outcome. They're just not aligned. And this is really common when we start working with people, okay? So people come to us with these problems and they are generally at effect, like they feel like there's a problem and the cause of that problem is out of their control. And so they're looking for that. So a big part of effectively helping someone get beyond those barriers and those challenges is understanding how are they structuring this problem. Because, and this is why I love NLP so much, right? Is that when people have got a specific situation, often they say, I have a problem. But in NLP, we know that they're actually doing a problem. They're doing a problem. They're doing a process in their mind through the information that they receive, like the outside events, whatever they can see in their reality, in their world, and they're bringing that information in. But then they are processing that information in a way that deletes some of the information, it distorts some of the information, and it generalizes a lot of the information that's available. And so as humans, this is a big deal, right? This is at the heart of all of people's problems, okay? Because there's a lot of information that we receive every day. You think about every single person you interact with, the things that you hear, see, read, all of these things that are going on around us. We receive something like 11 million, it's supposedly more than that now, but 11 million bits per second of information. So that's like bits per second of information is like different things that we can see, hear, feel, taste, smell. Okay, 11 million different bits of information every second is coming to us. But as human, we can't deal with that much information, right? It's too chaotic. So fortunately, we have some filters that filter that information down. But those filters only are filters that are made up of your own beliefs and memories and values and attitudes. So essentially how you believe the world is. And they filter down that 11 million bits per second, bits of information per second, so that you only really access about 134 bits per second. Okay, so that's like 99% of the information that's available is deleted, distorted, and generalized down to create a reality that you experience. Okay, so the bits that we focus on or the bits that we take in are only the bits that match what we already think, feel, and believe about the world. Okay, that's a massive thing. So if you believe that somebody doesn't like you, right, for whatever reason, your mind will look for bits of information that prove that they don't like you, and it will ignore the bits of information that suggest any other possibility. Okay, so if someone looks at you in a particular way and you believe that they don't like you, you will believe that the way they've looked at you means that they don't like you. And you'll ignore all of the other possibilities, like perhaps they're looking that way because they've had a bad day, or they're thinking about something else, or someone's just cut them off in traffic, or whatever else possibility. We'll delete out or generalize or distort all of that information and just make it that information means what I currently believe to be true. Okay, people generalize information. So, some really common examples of where people are generalizing information is when they say, oh, this always happens to me, or I can never stop doing this. Or they might say, every time I try, it doesn't work. And those words like always and never and every, they are generalizations. So if someone says, every time I try to change my eating habits, we have an event to go to, and there's never any healthy eating options there. This always happens to me. That's why I fail. Right? You can hear that there's a lot of generalizations in there. Okay, if someone says, nobody supports me in making these changes, they all want to see me fail. Right? People who say that these are broad generalizations. There's bits of information that's missing from these kind of statements. And it's absolutely fascinating. Right? It's so fascinating when you really understand language and you can hear how people are creating their reality. And it's super important to understand that if you really want to help people change or even have the self-awareness to make changes for yourself, because in our reality, how you experience your world, a lot of it comes down to your language, right? And this is the key thing that I want you to remember about this, is that our words don't describe our reality. They create our reality. Okay, so your words don't describe your reality. They create your reality. What you're speaking is what you're creating for yourself to experience in any given moment. Okay, so what that means is if you can understand how someone is creating their current situation that is a problem for them through listening into and recognizing the structure of what's being said, rather than getting caught up in the story that they're telling you. Okay, so if someone says, everybody says this, if you just believe that everybody says this, you're caught up in the story, right? But if you go, oh, they said everybody, that's a broad generalization. Would it literally be every single person on the planet? Most likely not. Okay, but they're creating this story that it's everybody. That's a problem. Okay, so we want to be able to hear this. And when we can hear this, and then we know, well, okay, there's some questions here that I can ask the person that will recover some of this information, and they're going to get awareness. And that is much more effective for people to change rather than just telling them what the solution is. Okay, people always are more empowered and will change quicker when they recover the information for themselves rather than you just telling them the answer. And so the trick to that is effective questioning. So how do I create a question that by the nature of that question will result in the person recovering information of their own that will make the biggest transformation? Because the thing is, people logically usually know what they should do or shouldn't do, what's right, what's wrong. They know all the logical stuff. But the logic mind isn't where the problem is. Okay, the problem is with what they are most unconscious of within themselves. And that's where having some questioning superpowers comes into play in a really big way. So when you can recognize what's being deleted, what's being distorted, or being generalized in your client's explanation of the situation they are in, then you can know what questions to ask, and you'll help them get the greatest self-awareness, and that will facilitate the deepest transformational change that you can possibly help your clients with. This is a quick and important message to let you know the Coaching Circle podcast is proudly sponsored by Toni Everard Coaching, your go-to coaching, communication and business mindset specialist and NLP Master Trainer. Are you ready for an identity shift to break through to the next level in your life and business? I'm here to help you tap into your inner power so you can fulfill your grand life purpose. Book a personalized one-to-one strategy call with me to supercharge your business mindset, coaching, and communication skills. Let's work together to elevate your success and amplify your impact. Head to the link in the show notes to schedule your strategy call today. So the first step, in this process is understanding what your client says is just their representation of the situation. Okay, it's just their representation of the situation. And generally it's a disempowering one, and that's why they are seeing you. Okay, that's why they're coming to you saying, I've got this problem and I don't know how to solve it for myself. All right. And so in unpacking how your client describes what is happening, while you're listening, you are identifying a few key points. And the first one is, are they taking responsibility for their situation and their own results? Or are they being at effect to someone or something outside of them? Because we've got to remember, right? No one can make you do anything. Every situation you are in comes from choices that you make. And you can refer to, I did a whole episode about this, the key thing, if you want to create change in your life. I think it was episode 31. Whole thing about cause and effect, very, very powerful. Go and listen to that episode as well. Okay, so we got to make sure, are they being at cause or effect? Because we've got to get them to at cause for them to be able to change anything. And then the second thing we've got to have awareness of is, what information are they leaving out right now? Are they generalizing and leaving out the possibility that it isn't, in fact, every single time or absolutely always the case? Okay, so we can ask them, is it everyone? Is it really always? Are there times that that's not the case? Okay, so we can ask those questions, right? And the third one is thinking, are they doing any mind reading? Okay, because people are amazing mind readers. Oh, you should hear the mind reading, and you probably do a bit of mind reading yourself, where you think that you know what someone is thinking without them having said that anything to you, right? So, and people do this, and it causes all kinds of problems. So how do they know that about someone else, right? They're, oh, I know they don't like me. How do you know that they don't like you, right? How do they know for a fact what someone else is thinking or the intention of their behavior? Nobody knows those things. So you can ask, well, how do you know that? How do you know that's the case? How do you know that's what that person thinks? Okay, so sometimes even just that question, and they'll say, well, I'll know because I saw that look on their face. How do you know that that look on their face means that? We don't know. We don't know that. So as soon as we recognize that we don't know, that mind reading isn't a science, isn't a fact, then it's open to the possibilities that there could be some other situation. Or the fourth thing is, we want to look at, are the words that they are using appropriate for the context, appropriate for the event. So for example, I had a client who was telling me about one day on the way into training, that she come in and I could see she was in an unresourceful state, that she wasn't feeling very positive. And I said, how's it going? And she said, well, the traffic was horrific. Right now, the word horrific, if you think of the word horrific, what kind of images or representations does that bring up for you? Okay, like mostly when I ask people this, they say, well, it sounds like carnage and could be like people being in accidents and all kinds of things. None of that had happened in this traffic. It was just peak hour traffic on South Road. And if you've ever driven on South Road in Adelaide, right, peak hour, you can appreciate that the traffic can get a bit busy and it's not the most fun. Okay, but horrific probably isn't a appropriate word to describe that. Right? But if you have used a word like that, how do you think that would make you feel? Do you think if you're sitting there saying to yourself, traffic, oh my God, this traffic's horrific, that's going to give you an unpleasant experience, even more unpleasant than what is necessary? If you think about this, for example, the traffic, peak hour traffic, you could say, oh my God, the traffic was horrific, and get yourself wound up. Or you could say, wow, the traffic's pretty busy. Good thing I've got a podcast to listen to, like the Coaching Circle, right? It's amazing. This traffic is a gift. It means I get to listen to my favorite podcasts more. completely changes your experience. So listening into those different kinds of words that people use and questioning them. Was it really horrific? When you think about the word horrific, what comes to mind? And you hear the distortions, because even when I did ask this person about what it was like, they said, oh, and the person was right up behind me and I could see their eyes were huge in the rearview mirror. Their eyes weren't any bigger than normal in the rearview mirror. But when you're telling yourself these things of how horrific it is and how terrible it is, your mind distorts information. Okay, mind distorts information. So we want to recover what's really going on in that situation. And once you identify what information is left out, you can then formulate a question to recover that information, like I've just explained. And, so for example, if someone was saying, well, I can't stick to my health goal because, my kids always insist that we eat Hungry Jack's or McDonald's on the weekend or whatever. Okay, so you think about that. Did your children pay for it? Did they strap you down and force feed that to you? Right? No, we're going to recover the choice. The choice is the parent paid for it. And even if you pay for the kids eating it, doesn't mean you have to pay for yourself eating it. Okay, so, really recovering that information. If someone says, oh, it happens every single time, you can ask, does it really happen every single time? Has there been times when it didn't happen that way? And you can be sure, like when you think about it logically and think from your own life, nature doesn't work that absolute, right? Nature doesn't work that absolute. It's not that clean cut of having something happen exactly the same every single time. So we need to ask those questions that will help recover that information for that person. Okay, your words are so powerful, and this is why I'm so passionate about teaching people how to understand and use language in an empowering way rather than a disempowering way. And like I said, we've got to remember that your words that you speak every single day are creating your reality. What are you saying to yourself and to other people? Okay, do you want to create more of it? Or do you want to, whatever it is you're saying, do you want to speak that into existence? This is a check that it's really important to have for yourself. Okay, there is no coincidence. Here's just a little bit of esoteric magic I'm going to sprinkle into this for you for today. There's no coincidence that we spell words and talk about spelling. Okay, because words have power. You are casting spells with your words. Okay, your words are creating your reality. So use that power for your highest good and speak it how you want it. Okay, it's highly important, and really important that we help our clients do that as well. So the best way to help you recognize the structure of your client's language is to gain awareness of your own language. Okay, so what are you saying to yourself and to other people about your situation? Are you talking about what you like and what you want to create more of? You've got to get really clear about what it is that you want. You got to focus on what you want and talk about what you like and what you want. And when you do that, you'll notice how things quickly will change for you.